Did Savarkar call Mahatma Gandhi a walking plague?
The adjectives he uses for Gandhi ji, pagal. ये पागल है.
Did Savarkar write mercy petitions to the British because Mahatma Gandhi asked him to?
How idiotic can people be? Where is Gandhiji at that time? Gandhiji is in South Africa.
Were Savarkar and Gandhi friends at all?
No, not at all.
What did he think of cow worship?
Shuddh murktha, unadulterated foolishness.
Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, the man with one of the most controversial socio-political legacies of the pre-independence era.
मेरा नाम सावरकर नहीं है, मेरा नाम गांधी है.
वीर सावरकर जैसे राष्ट्र नायकों को ये बदनाम करने का प्रयास करते हैं.
The man whose story has been a subject of study in schools' history textbooks, an inspiration for literary work and a matter for political contentions in present-day India. He is being written about once again by Arun Shourie, former BJP leader, Union Minister in Vajpayee's Cabinet, a Magsaysay award-winning journalist and Padma Bhushan. But despite so much already being written about Savarkar, what does Arun Shourie aim to address again?
Many of them are just regurgitating the myths that he created.
Why does he slam the appropriation of Savarkar today?
The forgetting of Gandhi and Savarkar and all are being resurrected for that purpose.
And how issues like these have reshaped his relations with the BJP from Vajpayee's time to now.
People gang rape a Muslim pregnant woman in Ahmedabad. They are doing it for Hindutva. And who's garlanding them when they come out of jail? And I certainly wouldn't have any place in a party like that.
On Badi Badi Baatein, Arun Shourie talks about Savarkar, the myths, the facts, the lies and the appropriation. Hello Mr. Shourie, welcome to the Quint and welcome to my show Badi Badi Baatein.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Savarkar has been written extensively on, and there have been scores of books, there have been scores of versions, as you yourself also have referred to in your book. Why did you once again feel the need to write a book to specifically address certain questions that are going on in the current discourse? Because when one opens your book and one sees the cover on the left, you have addressed the questions right there that you're going to be speaking about in the book. Why a book on Savarkar now?
Well, precisely because of other books on Savarkar now, because I feel that they are regurgitating, many of them are just regurgitating things which Savarkar put out himself, the myths that he created. And it deals only with specific issues relating to him, arising from his own writings, not from, legends and myths about his life and so on. So that is why it is. The issues are those that are current today, and I was trying to go to the roots of these notions, and that is how I landed on Savarkar.
To be the devil's advocate here, he did seem to have rational views on some issues. First is the matter of cow worship and Hinduism. Now, in his own writings and articles, he has called out worshipping of the cow by the Hindus as a god. He has called eating cow dung and drinking cow urine as fanaticism. He's called it madness.
Shuddh murktha, unadulterated foolishness.
What do you think shaped his views on cows the way it did?
Not only cows, but our practices, for instance, havans, the belief in appeasing Navagrah, the 9 planets. All those things he ridicules because he wants to reform. In that sense, he was a rationalist and he wanted to get people out of these superstitious beliefs. So in this respect, I have great regard for his views and for the work that he did while he was confined to Ratnagiri district. He used it for educating us.
The second social issue on which he had largely acceptable views was the abolition of caste. Promoted intercaste marriages, encouraged sharing of space. As you mentioned, there was an inauguration of a temple in Ratnagiri, which he agreed to do only if the untouchables are allowed to enter with him. At the same time, he didn't really get along with Dr. Ambedkar, did he? And why so?
Now, I don't know about that, but there were 2 points. One was, he was equally firm and equally explicit in talking to the untouchables themselves, that there are gradations within you, and you are treating other lower castes the way the upper castes treat you. So get over that. And second thing, of course, was that when Dr. Ambedkar decided that he would, as he said, he was born a Hindu, but he would not die a Hindu and would become um, a convert to Buddhism. Savarkar was very strongly opposed to that. And if you see in one of the pages, his epithets for Dr. Ambedkar are very strong. Similarly, and there is a third point also. See, Dr. Ambedkar also had very strong criticisms of Hindus, not just on caste, but on other mythological beliefs. There's his famous book on 12 riddles of Hinduism. And Savarkar was enraged that this Hindu hater, this man who's speaking untruths and misleading people and so on.
Coming to the more contentious parts that keep him in the debates of today, you have spoken extensively about this in the book, and you have quoted paragraphs, you have quoted things that he himself has said. The mercy petitions. The words used in those mercy petitions are something that usually shock his supporters. First and foremost, as is claimed by his supporters, his appropriators as you call them, did he file those mercy petitions because Mahatma Gandhi asked him to? Because this is a very commonly propagated theory.
How idiotic can people be to do this? First, when is he sent there? 1910. He goes there, he files his first petition within 2 months of going there. And where is Gandhiji at that time? Gandhiji is in South Africa. He is leading satyagrahas there. Every idiot should know, and Savarkar writes that prisoners in the cellular jail were allowed one letter a year to their family. Savarkar keeps filing mercy petitions, and I really don't hold it against him because the conditions were horrible. Even though the other prisoners have alleged that he became, as they say, a favorite of the jailers. Second point. At that time, then Gandhiji comes back in 1915. And then Jallianwala Bagh happens. Gandhiji is touring. This Rajmohan Gandhi has pointed out properly, very correctly. Gandhiji says that this is humiliated India. He's asking people to go to jail. And he's asking Savarkar, "Acha nahi to mercy petition dal do to the same government." I mean, how idiotic can people be? That means they don't look up anything and just repeat it. Ki Gandhi ji ki ke kehne par, bhai wah. I think a general amnesty is announced. And the brother of Savarkar, who's outside, he writes to Gandhiji, "Sir, please guide us. What should we do?" That letter is available. This is in after after those petitions have already been sent. These people who are propagating this know that people will hold it against Savarkar. So you blame Gandhi. Today, blame Nehru for everything. If a bridge collapses, if the Chinese come in, Nehru की गलती थी, तो उसमें गांधी जी की गलती थी.
In his letter, after he was accused of his assassination, he has written and said that Gandhi and I were friends. Now, my direct question to you is, were Gandhi and Savarkar friends at all? And to begin answering that, would you please be kind enough to read out page number 490 and 491 from your book, where you have summarized the terminologies and phrases that he has used in his writings for Mahatma Gandhi?
You see, that's a good point. Because I saw that some of these people are saying, नहीं मगर उन्होंने गांधी जी ने सावरकर को लिखा भाई कहा, भाई. And you know, Gandhiji would call bhai everybody. He is being friendly. Now let us see what Savarkar is doing. The adjectives he uses for Gandhiji. Pagal. ये पागल है. He says कि he has epileptic fits. उसको मिर्गी के दौरान वो बक देता है. जो उसके मन में आता है वो बक देता है. He is a dalal of the British. This is at the time when he is dealing with the British and Gandhi is in jail. He spews one kind of nonsense one day and another kind of nonsense another day. वो कभी कुछ और कभी कुछ बक देते. Then he says he's a walking plague, wo chalta pirta plague hai. These are the words of a friend. If you see the extracts that have been published by the Kapoor Commission from these magazines, they are nothing but venom against Gandhiji, against Panditji, against Congress leaders, everybody who's fighting for freedom. And you said they were friends.
How did Savarkar's dislike, how and where did Savarkar's dislike for Muslims begin? Because the theory that gets propagated is the fact that he was tortured by Muslims in the Andamans, who were the prison guards. But according to his own account, while he was in school, he had vandalized a mosque along with fellow schoolmates. So where did it all begin, and what's the story behind his dislike for the Muslim community?
There are several stories, again the myth. First, he himself says in his autobiography that he was incensed by some riots that took place, broke in Maharashtra, Hindu-Muslim riots, and he was very upset with that. And that fired him and his fellow students to, have mock battles against Muslims and then and go to a mosque and attack it, and finding that, oh, there is nobody in the mosque. So he said, we just made merry with some, destroying something or the other. That's one part. But then when he goes, this business of torture, even he has not claimed that. The general conditions in the cellular jail were bad, were terrible. There were 3 persons used to commit suicide every month. 450 or so were hanged. Yes, they were Muslim guards. He speaks that, yes, they were very harsh. They were terrible. They looked down upon Hindus. They would make sure that if there were any Muslim prisoners, they would get a slightly easier, have an easier time, all that. But the theory does not stand. Firstly, as you said, because his self-proclamation of hatred for the Muslims is from childhood. Second reason is that, you see, who's the head of the cellular jail? To whom all these guards are trying to please by their cruelty? There's a man called Barry. He was the head. And Savarkar always calls him Barry Sahib. So Barry was an Irishman. He is the root of the cruelty. But Savarkar does not develop any hatred for the Irish. Who put Savarkar there? The British. Savarkar does not develop any hatred for the British. In fact, he collaborates with them. He works together with them, tries to get positions of authority through them in their government.
Was there anything about the Muslims that he admired at all?
Yes, their devotion to their religion and their pride in their religion. That he says, yes, this is something I admire. He admires that even in cellular jail. And he tells the fellow prisoners on his own account that at least we must have that. We must learn that from them. India, according to him, was supposed to be a Hindu majoritarian state. Today, when you see a leader who has used words like these in a country which is largely secular, it goes against every notion of the Indian constitution. How do you look at the appropriation that is happening of Veer Savarkar? No, because actually these people are wanting to believe that the others are rats and lizards. You see, these are the words that are being used today, and they will be justified in terms by, I'm only quoting Savarkar. He says, there are several persons who are using similar words today to describe Muslims. And when you say we are by and large a secular country, I don't think so. We are by and large a secular country, not even in the courts. The courts say something about, if you or I would say something on hate speech, but if my good friends in the BJP say something like that, Election Commission looks away, the courts look away. So it's not a secular country. It's a secular country in words in the Constitution, in the preamble to the Constitution, and that's all. There's a quote of Savarkar that I'd like to read out when he spoke about caste. Centuries and centuries have passed, our needs have changed, our norms have changed. Several of these prescriptions that seemed current then are an embarrassment today. Now 75 years have passed since independence, but achieving this in terms of caste is still a challenge. But achieving this in terms of inter-religious associations now has almost become impossible. We are seeing the way anti-conversion laws are being misused. We are seeing how Uttarakhand has now a uniform civil code.
we are seeing the kind of statements that go around when it comes to interreligious harmony. How do you look at the current overlap of politics and religion from when you were active in the Bharatiya Janata Party's politics? How has it changed over the years?
Firstly, you see, there are different issues, and the whole question of interreligious living together is much larger. For instance, on the Common Civil Code, I have myself been in favor of it. Our Constitution says that the state shall strive for a Common Civil Code for the whole territory of India, for all citizens, etc. And it is my appeal to even Muslims would be, who are sensitive on these matters, that please do not look upon this as a Hindu-Muslim issue. And I do not know what they have done in Uttarakhand. I've not studied it. Mr. Chidambaram, who knows these things much better than you and I will be able to, he has found several flaws in it. But okay, improve the code. So that is one part. But all that is now suspect because the general agenda which is being pursued. And in that, the pursuit of even a good thing like a common civil code will get lost.
What do you think is the general agenda that is being pursued?
About the general agenda is, of course, this Hindu Rashtra business. See, this Hindutva is, if you see the monograph or this small book that Savarkar wrote, which is the origin of all this on Hindutva, the whole thing was to exclude Muslims. First he says, we are Hindus because we have common blood. That's not true. And this common blood was nothing but the Nazi ideology that started germinating in Europe from the last quarter of the 19th century. And Savarkar's things are just picked up from there. They must believe in something. Their religion or tradition must be that which has been founded by somebody from here. That excludes Christians, Jews, Muslims. So when they keep talking of Hindutva today, it is only to put others on the defensive. And in practice, it becomes a rationalization for the local neighborhood bully.
Do you think that's the same case today? The local neighborhood bully is still continuing, the concept is still continuing, because as Mr. Savarkar said...
Continuing, it has been fanned. When people gang rape a Muslim pregnant woman in Ahmedabad, what are they doing it for? When they rape a 9-year-old Muslim Bakarwal girl in the hills, they are doing it for Hindutva. When somebody beats up a bangle seller in Indore, what are they doing it for? And who's providing the rationalization? That is the neighborhood bully. He has got the rationalization which these leaders are providing of Hindutva, Hindu Rashtra.
Do you think the neighborhood bully also has the political protection of the current dispensation when it comes to it?
What is happening to the cases? What is happening to the cases, and who's defending them? And who's garlanding them when they come out of jail?
Were these the ideological differences because of which you consequentially moved away from the Bharatiya Janata Party?
No, I don't want to, I am nobody. But certainly I oppose all this. And I certainly wouldn't have any place in a party like that. And Bharatiya Janata Party is just a name that is continuing. The essence is very different. Very different means unrecognizable.
You have served as a cabinet minister with Mr. Vajpayee, and now you have seen the BJP at its peak in the past 10 years. Mr. Modi is currently in his third term. You have been a strong critic of Mr. Modi in the past. How do you look at the past 10 years of his prime ministership?
No, it's a separate issue, and it's a very, there will be many, for instance, on the economy, or what policies there are, on his silence on Manipur, on his silence on so many things. So that is a very large issue, which we'll have to take up on some other occasion.
You've been a journalist yourself, and you're a Magsaysay awardee. Your articles in the Indian Express, created a storm when the emergency was in place. How do you look at the media today? Some of some of these narratives that you just spoke about, the narratives being fanned. Do you think the media is also to an extent responsible for it?
Of course it is. There's no media today. It's you people who are saying something independent on social media. Otherwise, what is the media? And so the best thing is don't look at it. Gather information from direct sources, from persons you trust and you know, and don't waste your time on them. See, there was a very good sentence of Balasaheb Thackeray. He said, मैं remote किसके हाथ में? भैया स्विच ऑफ करने का रिमोट आपके हाथ में, क्यों उसको, why do you listen to them and say, अरे यार, why does he talk like this? Switch it off. Read books. पूजा ही कर लो, meditation ही कर लो.
Do you think the political control over the media has risen over the years?
Of course. But it is not just that the politicians are to blame, people in the media are to blame. There's a sentence of Marx. They seem to be giants because we are on our knees.
Do you in any way find yourself ideologically aligned to the BJP of the present day?
Not really. I mean, I've never thought of that at all. I mean, they are doing what they think is right. I'm writing books, looking after my wife and son.
One of the, I'm quoting from your book where you have said that one of the principal aims today is to erase Gandhiji. But you didn't clarify by who.
What is it? There's nothing to clarify. It is by the rulers. I said that Panditji is not an inconvenience to them. Sardar Patel is not that much of an inconvenience to them. But Gandhiji personified the best in Hinduism and the values that he tried to instill in us. For instance, truth. For instance, humility. And those things are certainly a great embarrassment, and therefore they want to erase him. Second point is, he is the symbol of the struggle for independence, for the freedom struggle. He's the symbol. These people did not participate in the struggle, the Savarkarites. They were with the British. So, as long as Gandhi is there, people are reminded of the freedom struggle. And they're reminded of the fact that X or Y were not in that struggle. They were with the British. So, erase Gandhi. That is why anyone who spat at Gandhiji is today honored. A temple for Godse? Nobody will believe it. My friend, that the Prime Minister should say that till Attenborough's movie came out, nobody knew Gandhi. He has said this in a television interview, and I was like, I know Mr. Modi. I can't believe it. Gandhiji, Einstein says, when Gandhiji is killed, that generations to come will not believe that such a person existed. Einstein says. Churchill was fuming at Gandhi. The whole world knew him. Some fool or the other will say, no, who's this father of the nation business? Our nation has existed for 10,000 years. Ye kaun hota hai? Just to go on making people accustomed to this, normalizing the spitting on Gandhi, the forgetting of Gandhi. And Savarkar and all, I certainly feel, are being resurrected just for that purpose.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining me on the Quint, and thank you so much for giving your time on Badi Badi Baatein.
Thank you, and the best to you always. Thank you.
Thank you.